Hey guys, it's ExandShadow, and welcome back to Let's Play Banjo-Tooie. In the last part, we did some more exploration of Witchyworld, and in this part, we're going to finally finish up this place. Well, our first run-through anyway. Our second run-throughs, well, I shouldn't say run-through, but our later visits to Witchyworld won't happen for quite some time. So, you know, you can look forward to that, I guess, if you don't particularly like Witchyworld. As far as I can tell, while it isn't really anybody's favorite level, Witchyworld isn't really anybody's least favorite level either. It's, that usually goes to Grunty Industries, which we won't be seeing for a while. But anyway, this is the last, or second, child, depending on, which one you count it, because, well, it's the third I've encountered, it's the second one I managed to bring back home. This is the only kid that's actually fucking reasonable. She's like, okay, if you give me some fries, I'll go home. You give her fries, she goes home. You don't have to use violence, and you don't have to carry her there. You know what? Okay, you might be a brat for asking for food, but you know what? If you make a deal, at least you follow through with the deal, you know? Thank you, little polar bear girl that I'll never speak to ever again. Anyway, yes, as I mentioned last part, this is the Star Spinner, and as such, it's basically the only platforming section in the entire game. And as such, it's pretty damn easy, although if you make a mistake, you're pretty much gonna die, so be careful with that. The spinning platforms are a relatively simple affair, but when it comes to this planet, it's rotating in sort of a weird way, but when you jump on top of it, you're going to want to jump on it in such a way that you're not fighting against its rotation. Because if you do so, Kazooie won't be able to climb up of it because it'll be considered too slippery, and then you'll fall, and if you don't manage to catch yourself in time, you'll take enough fall damage to die. So don't do that, you know, you can get hurt that way. Anyway, with that, I think we've gotten almost every Jiggy in Witchyworld. I believe so, anyway. Oh, no, wait, we're going... Wait, what do I have left to do in Humus Humus area? I mean, I should apologize. I recorded this footage months ago, so I don't really remember. Oh, I remember what we're doing. Dipshit moment. You need to go climb. I'm climbing up on top of here so that I can take the cable car to ride the Saucer of Peril. The Saucer of Peril you can get to using the shock jump pad that you opened up if you press that button, but it's just faster for me to use the cable car ride, so I did it that way, just for shits and giggles. One thing about turning the power back on for the Saucer of Peril, though, if you did the Saucer of Peril before, if you powered up the Saucer of Peril before freeing it from Glitter Gulch Mine, you're going to have to grab over that wire and deal with the electricity sprouts that are growing out of it. Those things won't start shooting electricity at you until the power goes on, so that's a nice attention to detail that I like. Although, if you put the shock jump pad there before turning on the power, you don't even have to deal with them anyway, so yeah. Anyway, here we have the Saucer of Peril minigame, which is probably the most... I don't want to say the most involved, but it's probably the longest. It's definitely the longest minigame in Witchyworld, and one of the longer minigames in the game as a whole, really. Basically, it's a tour ride. A tour ride? Yeah, it's basically a tour of Witchyworld. We go through the main hub, all 4 sections of the main hub, and we also explore the smaller sections inside. So we explore the area that has the castle. The balloon castle, we explore the Star Spinner, we explore the Inferno cave. Yeah, let's just call it the Inferno cave, just because there's not really any better thing to call it. Anyway, each area is broken up into sections. You know, you've got a fade in and a fade out, and there's a set number of points you can get in every section. I'm pretty sure that the point layouts here, the targets, they aren't randomized. I'm pretty sure that they will be the same exact colors for every single playthrough, or at the very least, they've been the same exact color for every playthrough that I've done. Same rules apply for every other minigame you want. You need to aim for blues and greens as a priority and try to get any reds that you manage to come across. Learning how to do small half circles with the control stick is essential to getting a high score on this minigame. I'm just gonna say it right now, until you get used to the layout of the track and you memorize where the most important blue and red spots, I should say blue and green spots are, you're probably not going to get the first prize on your first try through. I certainly didn't. If I can give any advice, it's to pay attention to the pay attention to your cursor. Well, I shouldn't say pay attention to your cursor, but pay attention to the environment more than the targets itself. Because as you move around, the targets are going to be moving. So basically, while the targets are staying in the same space in the world itself, you're going to be moving around so much that it makes aiming them hard. Like right there, with that half circle of blues, I didn't hit any of them because I was jittering around so much. So basically, try to aim where you think the targets are going to end up as opposed to where they are right now. That's the most important lesson for getting getting all of them. And some of the time, though, you're probably just not going to be able to react quick enough on your first time through because, you know, you don't know when the saucer Peril is going to do some crazy-ass twist or turn or whatever. And while there aren't too many of those, like, most of the time it's just going through a pretty straightforward path, you know. When it does do something crazy like that little corkscrew it did with all the blue stuff, you know, there's usually a good reward for being able to aim through that more difficult section. So, you know, if you're able to master, you know, aiming in a tricky situation, the game will reward you for it, and that's good. However, when you finally learn what you're doing, you can get a pretty decent amount of points in relatively short order. Like, right there, I'm pretty sure that I lied about the Inferno area, by the way. I guess that they just don't send you into that area because you might not have unlocked Wumba at this point before unlocking the Saucer of Peril. But anyway, the balloon section, the balloon castle area, that's the last section before the final stretch. So if you can get 500 points by then, great. But if you don't have at least 400 by that point, you're probably not going to be able to get enough points in order to get first prize. So make sure to try to load up on points during the beginning as much as possible. My score is 551, so if you want to try to beat that, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Although, you won't, because I'm amazing. Okay, I'll stop now. Anyway... Oh, Jesus Christ, you said I won 2 bleeping prizes. Well, bleep you, man. I can bleep whatever the bleep I want. You fucking bleep. Wait. Huh. Anyway, you can ride the minigame over and over again if you want to. But, you know, once you do it once, you never really have to do it again. So, we've got almost every single Jiggy in this area. You can get every Jiggy but the Boggy Jiggy. Well, the Boggy's Kids Jiggy on your first run through, so you can get 9 out of 10. The last Jiggy, as you might have noticed by now, is the boss fight. Now, in order to go to the boss fight, you need to get all of the tickets that are inside those cash machine things that are around the big top. And while you can blow them up with a grenade egg, doing it when you're going around as the van is just a little bit quicker and more convenient, so I recommend doing it there. This is Conga, you might remember from Banjo-Kazooie 1. And he's given up a life of throwing oranges at everybody that passes him by to run a circus. Huh. Okay, then. That's a clear-cut career path that makes very much sense to me. Anywho, yeah, we're gonna go to the circus. Fuck yeah. I can't wait to see underpaid clowns ride around doing cheap tricks that anybody could do if they tried hard enough. Eating stale popcorn and flat soda with terrible, terrible cotton candy. Oh, no, wait, it's just a giant dinosaur. Never mind. Also, Rare, you guys are fucking perverts, because, you know, I know exactly what that little thing in between his legs is supposed to be. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not the thing that you use to blow the balloon up. Nope, it's his dick. Yeah, Rare, have some class, please. Anyway, this is Mr. Patch, a strange wobbly inflatable thing. I just have to say, strange wobbly inflatable thing is the best classification for any monster in any game ever. I should just say that right now. Anywho, Mr. Patch's boss theme is fucking amazing. I love it so much. I could take or leave Witchyworld's theme as a whole, like, you know, the normal one. However, Mr. Patch's boss fight theme is one of the most energetic and upbeat themes in the game while still having a lot of tension built into it. You know, it's a very, you know, ominous track just due to the way that the instruments are chosen, but it's still a lot of fun too, so I love this track so much. I love it to death. Mr. Patch as a boss himself, though, is kind of obnoxious. Basically, you need the airborne egg aim ability in order to fight him. If you don't have it by the time you have all four tickets, the game actually won't let you into the arena, so, you know, that's your clue that you're going to be using it for the boss fight. Basically, the whole point of this match is to try to shoot grenade eggs at those patches on his face and his body and so on and so forth. Every time you hit one, his hit points go down, and he also shrinks a little bit because the air's being let out of him. The problem with hitting the patches on Mr. Patch is that he moves around all over the fucking place. And some of the patches are really obnoxious to hit because he's moving around so much. Not only will you just miss the patch entirely, but sometimes other body parts will get in the way. Now, you get to fire off one shot on the ground before he starts sending those boxing gloves at you, so I recommend aiming for a patch that's giving you trouble whenever you're trying to fight him in the air. For me, I usually go at the one that's closest to his tail, because that tail always blocks my shots whenever I'm going after it. Now, don't worry about losing feathers or eggs, because those will infinitely respawn as you're flying around. So, while you'll have to take a quick detour on the ground in order to pick those up, you know, you shouldn't have to worry about it too much. The boxing gloves are really only a threat if you're standing still, which makes it impossible to egg aim with them, but trying to pick up this stuff on the ground is no problem at all. Mr. Patch himself also doesn't really do a whole lot to hurt you. He'll fire beach balls at you every now and again, but ramming into him doesn't do any damage to you. And, you know, he doesn't attack that frequently. So really, the boss fight isn't so much hard in you're gonna die a lot way, but it's hard in a it takes forever sort of way. Once you get once you get the timing down, it becomes easy, but once you get a good sense for how off the mark you need to aim in order to actually hit his patches, you know, it's tolerable. Fighting him for the first time is really sort of obnoxious, but fighting him every time after that isn't too bad. If you have the Amaze-Gaze goggles, using those can make aiming at him a little bit easier, because without them you've got to get up close and personal to him in order to shoot at his patches. But with it you can sort of aim shots reliably from a distance, so that's good to hear. But with that, we have defeated Mr. Patch and thus have completed everything that we need to complete in Witchworld on our first run through. Again, we're going to be needed to do another trip back in here, not only to get the Jiggy that we need for getting all of the boggy kids, or polar bears. Let's just call them polar bear kids. Not only are we going to need to get all the polar bear kids, but there is a Jiggy that we need to get in another level that requires us to cut through Witchyworld. So, if you don't like this level, too bad, you're going to have to come back. So, you know, sucks to be you, I guess. And when you leave the area, you know, you're closer to the entrance than you are to the warp pad behind it. So, yeah, just go there. Also, you can't take any of the food you have in Witchyworld out because, yeah, Grunty's a bitch. So, you're going to lose it as soon as you leave. But anyway, next time we are going to be exploring the Isle of Hags and moving on to later levels in the game. I'm ExandShadow, and I'll see you guys later.